Bottle pop, truth drop, welcome to the show. Champagne secrets, let your power grow. Every video, spark, ignite your inner light. Raise a glass to the future, shining bright. Empowerment is the code we decode. Unravel mysteries, life's own secret load. Step by step, tap in, find your flow. With champagne secrets, you're gonna glow.
Unlock the strength within you, watch it bloom. Life's a canvas, painted every room. Through ups and downs, cheers to what's next. Champagne secrets, life's complex. To the show, champagne secrets, let your power grow. Every video, spark, ignite your inner light. Raise a glass to the future, shining bright. Empowerment is the code we decode. Unravel mysteries, life's own secret load. Step by step, tap in, find your flow. With champagne secrets, you're gonna glow. Unlock the strength within you, watch it bloom. Life's a canvas, painted every room. Through ups and downs, cheers to what's next. Champagne secrets, life's complex.
For a second and let's talk. Yo, DJ, roll that beautiful champagne footage.
All my life, all my life, heard this secret. It was, if I've been seeking this special secret. This is something that I've been trying to put my friends on, and I finally found it, you know. This is a champagne secrets moment. Wanna share it with y'all, so tap in. Scoot up for a second. Let's toast. All my life, heard this secret. It was, if I've been seeking this special secret. This is something that I've been trying to put my friends on, and I finally found it, you know. This is a champagne secrets moment. Wanna share it with y'all, so tap in.
What's going on, Champagne Gang? Hold on one second, y'all. I hear an echo. 1 second. Hold on, let me get something cute to look at real quick. 1 second. Okay, that should be better. Yeah, there we go. Can y'all hear me? Drop some champagne glasses in the chat if you can hear me.
Bottle pop
Let's
drops
get
live.
into this
Welcome to the
story.
show.
So,
Champagne
y'all
secrets, let your
listen.
power grow. Every
I
video
ran into
spark
this
ignite
story
your inner light.
about this beautiful
Raise a
young
glass
girl
to the future,
last
shining
year.
bright.
And when I ran into
Power
this
in the
story,
protocol,
it
white
was,
gold,
I
unlimited
believe, her
flow. Light
cousin,
zone, secret love.
as some of y'all may
Watch
know as
every
Roxy
movement lit
Rocks,
on your
that her
phone.
cousin
The champagne secrets burning
was
glow.
searching for this little
Shining
girl.
bright.
And I had put it in my archives because I said, you know what? I'm going to deal with this story, but I'm going to do some research. Now, y'all know me. If I'm going to do a story, I'm going to do some research first. I'm not just going to jump into it because I don't like putting out false information and we don't do hearsay. No, it's got to be facts. It's got to be something there with it in order for us to cover it on this channel. So I put it in the archives and I kept saying, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to follow this story and see what happened. And so much stuff happened in the world, because y'all been tripping. Do you hear me? Y'all cut out all 2024. Then y'all let this man come in 2025 and I'm over 2025 already. I'm done with it. But the preliminary hearing popped up, and I was like, this case sounds familiar. And I went back in the archives and I was like, oh my God, it was because I had this in my archives to cover this case and I forgot about it. But we're going to go back. But what I want to do, because there's so much information out there, right? We're going to go back to the beginning. And what I want to do is deal with the facts. We're going to deal with how this case broke. We're going to deal with some of the evidence that's been found. So we're probably going to be covering this for the next few days because one of these days I'm going to do this live on StreamYard so that I can invite you guys up because I want to hear your thoughts about it. Now, again, we're dealing with facts. The problem with a lot of this case is there's so much speculation out there because everybody's putting out opinion. There's nothing wrong with putting out opinion, but you can't put out opinion like opinion is fact. Because when you put out opinion like opinion is fact, that's when you start running into defamation lawsuits. Then, because we're dealing with such a high profile case, we got to understand that the law and the law enforcement are watching these lives to see what we're saying, to see what people are talking about, to see if people are putting out evidence that can be used. So when you throw out stuff that's not factual, guess what? Now they got to stop what they're doing to investigate what you just said. And it might not be true. This is
Bottle
too
pop
high of a
cherry pop.
profile
Welcome to the
case
show. Champagne
for
secrets,
us
let
to
your
put out
power grow.
speculation
Every video spark ignite your
and
inner
keep
light.
monsters
Raise a
from being
glass to the
convicted
future, shining bright.
because we
Power
want to
in
be
the
Inspector
protocol,
Gadget. And there's
white gold,
nothing wrong
unlimited
with it.
mysteries. Light zone,
Investigate.
secret love.
You might find
Watch every
information that they
movement
didn't
lit
find, but you
on
got
your
to do it the
phone.
right way.
The champagne
Otherwise, you
secrets
risk the
burning glow.
whole case. So, we're going to get into this and we're going to go from the beginning. First thing I want to do is this because as we go through this, I want us to always remember, and I want you to drop it in the chat, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
You know that. It's not what you know, Clyde. It's what you can prove in court.
Y'all remember that from that movie? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. That's why I have a problem with hearsay. Because if you have no proof, all it is he said, she said. If we're going to talk about it, put the proof on the table. I would love for us to just take that ideology into 2025, all the way through it. If you're going to talk about it, put the proof on the table. If not, why talk about it? So we're going to get into it. But first thing that I want to do is we're going to switch the background. because I want to make sure this baby's face is always at the top of our conversation today and every video, so that we always remember that this is not about a like and a view. I'm not monetized, so I'm not making no money from it. I'm not. I think, child, I might have received $5 in super chat since I've been doing live. So this is not about that. This is about remembering that this baby is still missing, presumed deceased, pregnant, all at the hands of a monster and people who were supposed to protect her but did not. So every story that we cover, everything that we talk about, we have to keep it at the forefront that at the end of the day, this is about Naziah. Please drop hashtag Naziah in the chat. Because if it's not about her, it shouldn't be about anything. Said what I said. Won't take it back. So, check out this video that actually dropped, I think either today or yesterday. And they're going to talk about how there was warnings from CPS or with CPS about the danger this man posed way before this happened. Check this out.
Jarvis Butts is awaiting trial for the murder.
Hold on, because you can't see it. Let me move it up. All right, here we go.
Jarvis Butts is awaiting trial for the murder and sexual abuse of Naziah Harris.
After listening to days of testimony last month, a judge called Butts a monster and said that opportunities to protect the 13-year-old girl were missed. Tonight, the 7 investigators are revealing years of warnings that preceded Butts' alleged crimes.
Warnings that family members say were made to Children's Protective Services that could have saved Naziah's life. Here's what 7 investigator Ross Jones has uncovered.
You look at that face, and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing.
Years before Jarvis Butts would be charged by Wayne County's prosecutor, accused of killing and sexually abusing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, Harris's own relatives say they saw the warning signs and told anyone who would listen.
So that at that point, I said, this is too much. I'm calling CPS.
I tried not just once, but multiple times for them to take me serious in what I was saying.
Kiwana Morton and her cousin Jernell are both relatives of Naziah Harris. In February of 2022, Jernell says she learned of allegations of improper touching involving Butts and other small children. She says she was told about the claims while talking to her niece, Jarvis Butts' girlfriend, and that the alleged victims were Naziah Harris and 2 other children.
I was just like, oh my God, I was not crazy. This needs to be looked into.
She says she took the claim seriously in part because Butts was on the sex offender registry, having spent more than 8 years in prison for third-degree criminal sexual conduct. She didn't alert authorities at first because she believed her niece would notify police. But weeks later, Jernell did notify Child Protective Services. Her complaint came in on April 13, 2022. There was an incident at a birthday party, the complaint reads. One of the children that attended the party accused Jarvis of sexual abuse. Naziah, and name withheld, reported that Jarvis touched both of them inappropriately as well. Jarvis touched, name withheld, in her private area, and it hurt. Jernell made the complaint over the phone.
They basically told me if they needed me for anything else, they would reach out.
The next day, Jernell would receive a text from her niece, Butts' girlfriend, confirming that CPS had contacted her. CPS called me, the text reads. They called about the well-being of my kids. Then they called back to get Jarvis info. A CPS spokeswoman would not tell 7 News Detroit if investigators ever questioned Naziah Harris after receiving the complaint. But we do know it wasn't the only complaint filed with CPS, naming Jarvis Butts.
And it wasn't easy for me to call Protective Services just because of the horror stories that you hear.
Kiwana Morton said she heard about the same allegations against Butts from a conversation with his girlfriend. 2 months after her cousins called to CPS, she would file her own complaint.
I told them that there's a problem and they need to be aware of it I am 90% sure that there's sexual abuse going on within the home.
Did you specifically mention Jarvis by name?
Yes, absolutely.
Internal CPS records we obtained show that investigators looked into that complaint, conducting a face-to-face interview with Butts, who strongly denied the allegation. A forensic interview was conducted with the alleged victim, and no disclosures were made. CPS said the home was clean and free of observed safety concerns. The allegation was denied, assigned a low risk level. These are 2 complaints of at least 5 filed with CPS since 2015 naming Jarvis Butts. They allege concerns about possible molestation, physical abuse, or living conditions. Some of the complaints are generic, and none would ultimately substantiate that Butts was improperly touching children. Just over a year after the last complaint on record, Butts would be charged with sexually assaulting and murdering Neziah Harris.
I'm brokenhearted because this could have been prevented. All of it could have been prevented.
Attorneys for Jarvis Butts declined comment for this story, citing his pending criminal case. As for CPS, a spokeswoman for the Department of Health and Human Services said that their hearts go out to the family and friends of Neziah Harris. It says that state and federal laws prohibit them from commenting on what we just reported, but that they are committed to ensuring the health and safety of all children. I'm Ross Jones, 7 News, Detroit.
This is sick. There's a whole lot of other words that I want to say that YouTube will not permit me to. And we try not to use those words over here. We try to be classy. Our system is so screwed up. Do you not realize there are states right now where at 12 years old, a young lady is able to decide whether or not she wants to take birth control? You can't even take your child, your biological child that you pushed out, that your seed helped produce. You cannot even take your own child to the doctor and tell the doctor that you want to check them for STDs because they're being sexually active. The doctor is going to pull the child in another room and ask them if they want to be checked because it's their body. But if that child gets pregnant, that child and that baby is your responsibility. Our system is screwed. Ask me how I know. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you. Transparent mode. My daughter was able at 15 to go to Planned Parenthood and have her 5-year plan removed. And I knew nothing about it. Do you know how I found out that my daughter was impregnated? She had a stomach ache. She was complaining about her stomach. So my daughter never gets sick, even as a baby, never sick. I don't think she had chickenpox, measles, mumps, nothing. The flu, she never got sick. I used to tell her she was an alien, right? But I take her to the hospital, and the lady is like, well, do you think you can be pregnant? I said, hell no, she can't be pregnant. She on the 5-year birth control plan. So the lady said, no, we gonna check her just to be sure. All right, do you? Because I know you lied. Lady come back in the room. Well, so I guess I have some good news. You're pregnant, and we're gonna send you for an ultrasound. Press pause. Rewind. We not just gonna run past that like you ain't just say what you just said. What do you mean pregnant? My baby was 4 weeks pregnant. Ask her how this happened. She went to Planned Parenthood and told them she wanted it removed. Her 5-year plan. And they removed it. Our children are in trouble. We wonder how CPS could let this happen, because CPS is a part of a system that's already broken. You can't expect wholeness to come from broke things. That's why half of y'all going through some of the stuff y'all going through now. You're broken. So you don't have whole thinking, you don't have whole emotions, you don't have whole relationships. This little girl was broken and found in this raggedy, ratchet ass nigga a father figure and family and attention that her family should have been providing her. We gonna talk about it. Let's talk. Everybody failed her. A broken system, a broken family, a broken nigga. They all failed her. So, I saw that, y'all. I done got pissed. Because this baby is gone. And I'm concerned about the behavior of the family. The only person in this situation that looks scared is Jarvis, sitting in that court. All I've seen from her family online is attitudes from the people who were responsible for her. I saw this video. People are saying that she's pregnant, allegedly. We gonna have some videos that come out with that. And y'all tell me what y'all think, because she look a little thick in this video. Now that's my opinion. I'm not saying this is fact. Excuse me, y'all, my allergies. 1 second. I'm not saying she is pregnant. I'm saying she looks a little thick in this picture. Even when she turns to the side. To me, it looks like a baby bump. See how I said that makes it my opinion and not factual. But to me, it looks like a baby bump. So now we're going to see, because again I said, now this is going to be like a few day coverage, but today we're starting with the initial case that came out, her being found missing, and we're going to cover the evidence. So we're not getting into the brother speaking. I do have that. Some of the footage from 7 Mile, I got some of that. But we're not dealing with the speculation and the family and all of that today. Today we're dealing with the facts, because I think a lot of times we forget about the facts of a thing. And what we do is we begin to create stories based on the facts. And we make those stories facts. But again, what did we say?
You know that. It's not what you know, Clyde. It's what you can prove in court.
It's not what you know. It is what you can prove in court. So, I need y'all to check out this video. And this is the initial video that came out when she went missing.
Detroit police sounding the alarm for the safety of a missing Detroit teenager. Naziah Harris, last seen on January 9th after leaving school at J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy near Cornwall and 3 Mile. 7 Action News reporter Sarah Michael spoke with family members about their frantic search for the 13-year-old.
Nazia's grandmother tells me that this is where Nazia was last seen, at Cornwall Street and 3 Mile. She tells me that the school bus dropped her off right here on January 9th. What happened next is unknown.
For her to be late, she has never been late coming home. She's always got permission to do things.
Annette Harris is 13-year-old Nazia Harris's grandmother and legal guardian. When was the last time that you heard from your granddaughter?
When I dropped her off at school, which was on January the 9th.
Nazia is an 8th grader at Clark Elementary School in Detroit, described as being incredibly sweet and a rule follower. Annette tells me when Nazia didn't come home from school on January 9th, she knew immediately something was wrong and reported her missing the next day. Detroit Public Schools Community District's police department has been handling the investigation. That's until Wednesday, when after a month of fruitless searching for the teen, Detroit Police Department announced that they're taking over.
We're very, very concerned. Nazia is a very sweet child. She really is. You know, and my biggest fear is somebody hurting her.
We don't believe that initially there was an abduction.
Police say they don't believe Nazia was abducted initially, but when pressed, wouldn't answer if they think she went off with someone willingly. Annette tells me that Nazia's school looked at the bus video from January 9th and can see Nazia getting off at her regular stop here.
She got off the bus with her schoolmate and walked up to the corner of Warren and 3 Mile Drive. And one of the school kids said that she turned right instead of turning left, and that's all I know.
Police say they are questioning everyone who knows Nazia. They're working with local, state, and federal partners to look everywhere. If someone is watching right now and they know where Nazia is, what would you like to say to them?
Nazia's life may be in danger and you don't even know it because you're keeping information or trying to keep her hidden because of what you think. Nazia needs to be home with her family, and we love her.
If you know anything about Nazia's disappearance or where she may be, you are asked to reach out to Crime Stoppers. You can call them anonymously at 1-800-SPEAK-UP. In Detroit, Sarah Michaels, 7 Action News.
Progressive One, I absolutely agree with you. Respectfully, why they so calm? Unnaturally so. That couldn't be me. Not one of mine. I'm not understanding why I went silent for so long. 13-year-old, a baby? Yo, and I feel like the way you feel, like no emotion. To me, what are y'all thoughts? How did that interview rub y'all? What did y'all think? And remember, y'all, this is a safe space. We don't. My champagne gang, drop some champagne glasses in the chat to let them know it's a safe space. We don't argue over here. We don't talk about each other. We don't call each other names. We respect. We love on. We treat each other like family. That's how we do. But drop in the chat and let me know. How do you feel about that grandmother's interview? Some of y'all got some memas, some grandmas. How would your grandma have responded on a press conference and their grandbaby was still missing? It's a lot about this case makes me scratch my head. It makes... Okay, let's continue. So the next video that I'm gonna play for you is the video of the actual charges being brought against her. Check this out.
Jarvis Butts, the Detroit man charged with murdering 13-year-old Nazia Harris, he appeared in court for the first time since his case was bounded over for trial. CBS News Detroit's Jack Springate sat on today's proceedings to tell us everything that happened in court today.
Well, today's hearing was more procedural than informative, but it did set a timetable for some of the next steps in this trial. The biggest development arguably happened outside the courthouse, and that was learning how much attention Neziah's story's been getting since last week's preliminary hearing. Butts entered a not guilty plea before the court scheduled a calendar conference set for March 7th at 9 a.m. That's when deadlines to file motions, motion hearing dates, and potential trial dates will be set. One of Neziah's adult cousins and staunchest advocates said her story has taken off ever since the preliminary hearing.
There are a few celebrities that have reached out. It's reached some very top tier platforms. So I'm hoping that, it moves in the right direction that it needs to go on.
Roxy says one of these celebrities was Detroit's very own Skilla Baby, who not only said he'd cover the cost to throw a community gathering to honor Neziah's life, but he's also changed his profile picture to this photo of her.
I'm very thankful that Skilla Baby decided to, step up to the plate and take care of everything. And it's just awesome how the community is coming together all behind Neziah.
Roxy told me her reaction to much of the online chatter that sided with Judge Aaliyah Sabri's observation that those caring for Neziah when she was abused didn't do enough to protect her.
Accountability matters. It's some things that you can be able to forgive your family members for, and this is just one of those things that I just personally can't. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, and everyone involved in it needs to take accountability.
Roxy says she would have never let this happen if she were still living in Detroit 1 year ago. Again, Butts will be back in court on March 7th for that calendar conference, and you can continue to follow along this case with us here at CBS News Detroit as we bring you real-time updates as they happen. For now, reporting in Detroit, I'm Jack Springate, CBS News Detroit.
So the next video that we're going to check out, so that was the video of when they decided to bring charges against him. So the next video, and if you guys see me looking off in this direction, that's because that's where the chat is on my screen. But this is the press conference about why the charges were brought against him. So check this out.
Decades of my career looking at pictures of murdered people. When I was trying homicide cases for 6 straight years, and as an assistant prosecutor, I would spend hours thinking about the victim whose case I was getting ready to try, wondering how they spent their last weeks, their last days, their last hours, and their last minutes of their lives. What were they thinking about? Did they know that the end was near? And if it was someone they knew, what must they have been thinking as they were shot, stabbed, or whatever mechanism of death was used and confronted them with by the person they knew or loved? I can't imagine the thought that goes through their minds. But it's always, always 1,000 times worse when the person is a child or a baby, someone in the dawn of their lives who haven't begun to live their lives. The picture behind me is of Zanaya, and that will always be haunting, because it was taken just a short time before the evidence shows that she was never seen or heard from again. It was taken by Neziah herself, a selfie. That's the last known picture that we know about of her. And it was pointed out to me by one of the detectives on this case and by one of the prosecutors. She is smiling, waving, saying hello. But little did she know that she was really saying goodbye. We will provide to you later a very skeleton timeline of the time right before her death, before and after. Of course, the detail would be provided in court. The evidence shows overwhelmingly in this case that she is in fact deceased. The last time she was seen alive was January the 9th of this year, 2024, almost 9 months ago. Her missing status was reported to the Detroit Public School Police Department by her grandmother on that very day, when she never returned home from school. And again, that was January the 9th of 2024. In early February of 2024, the case was turned over to the Detroit Police Department. Frankly, that should have happened right away, but they began investigating immediately. The evidence would further show that through text messages that we know and that we have, Zanaya and this defendant were going to meet after school on January the 9th. We know that she did indeed meet up with the defendant that we're charging in this case. We also know that several people close to Mr. Butts, who we were charging later, saw them together in several different locations, people that he knew well. We have evidence that at 9:30 p.m. on that day, that Mr. Butts checked into a motel and that Zanaya was never seen or heard from again. Not from her family, not from her schoolmates, not from her friends, not from social media where she was extremely active with her friends, not from teachers, No one. We know that she had no medical conditions that would cause a life-threatening medical emergency to her. And he, again, was the last person that saw her alive. She would have turned 14 years old just 10 days ago, on September the 16th of 2024. And again, no one has seen or heard from her. You look at that face, and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing. The evidence will show that from one of her text messages to and with Jarvis Butts. And we also know, the evidence will show, that there's no evidence of anyone else being the father of that child, other than the defendant himself, who we charge today. And he knew she was pregnant. We know that he was also searching for ways to abort the baby. We know that sexually explicit photos were requested by him of her, and that she complied and sent them to her. All at the hands, we allege, the man we are charging with her death and also her long-term sexual abuse. In our warrant review process that Matt and Tina and others put together, excellent work on that. Video of 111 gigabytes. Witnesses and witness statements, body-worn camera, and let me not forget, it was Tina and Matt's memo, but the work of the Detroit Police Department. Anyway, we reviewed 111 gigabytes of video, witnesses and witness statements, body-worn camera footage, surveillance video, police reports, documents, 19 gigabytes, medical records, search warrant returns, phone extractions, which came to 506 gigabytes. Today we are charging Jarvis Butts with 1 count of first-degree premeditated murder, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, and 1 count of child sexually abusive material. Today we are also charging Mr. Butts with more counts of criminal sexual conduct on 2 more girls, yes, girls, on 2 other separate cases. The girls in question now are 20 and 11 respectively today, but both were under the age of 13 years old at the time the offenses occurred that we're charging. We are charging that one victim who is now 20 years old, that from April of 2012 to April of 2014, is alleged that defendant Bucks sexually assaulted the victim at a residence in Detroit. Further facts and evidence on that matter will be placed on the record at the preliminary examination. In that case, we charge Mr. Butts with criminal sexual conduct, 1 count in the first degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older. In that case, we are also charging Mr. Butts with 3 counts of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 years or older.
I agree with you, Niecy B. Hold on, let me get this up on the screen. I'm frustrated with everybody. Everybody. But how do we constantly have situations where it comes out where they had all the proof in the world, all the evidence in the world, and you still let this happen? Meanwhile, Nuck Nuck and JoJo can't drive down the street with their car smelling like a whiff of THC. It might not even be THC, it might be a hemp in the car. They getting pulled over, pat down, the dogs call. But you have evidence before this happened that this person was a problem, and you do nothing.
Bottle pop, truth drop. Welcome to the show. Champagne secrets, let your power
Come on
grow.
now.
Every video spark ignite your inner light.
But that will also mean the family continue to have these children around this ninja after it came out before. And you still subjected to, in the words of goddamn Zoe, the door. Lock it. Lock. Lord. All of them. I wish I would have pulled that clip from Denzel when Denzel said in what movie was that? Man on Fire. That's one of my favorites. You remember when he said everybody that watched it, everybody that knew about it, everybody that was there, everybody that had an inkling, if you weren't one of the ones that called for assistance and tried, lock everybody up. Because they all the problem. Jesus. This case is frustrating on a whole different level. And have y'all paid attention to the fact, and I'm probably going to do a video on it, that there's something going on with our girls around 13. Have you noticed that all of these young girls that are ending up unalived, disappeared, it all happens around the age 13? I'm going to do a video on it. We gonna hop on the live to talk about it. I'm gonna do the research, because y'all know I'm gonna have to put it together, but I'm gonna do the research and we gonna have to talk about it, because every time I look, it's another 13-year-old girl. I don't care if they're black, white, but especially our young black teens. What is it about our young girls in 13 that this keeps happening at the age of 13? What is going on? But let's continue. They're all the problem.
In the second criminal sexual conduct case, well, I guess the third, that we're charging today, we are alleging that the victim, who is now 13 years old, that from July 2015 through July 2017, we're alleging that he sexually assaulted residents of Detroit, and again, further facts and evidence will be developed at the preliminary examination. Defendant Butts have been charged with, in that case, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree. Child under the age of 13, Mr. Butts over the age of 17. Based on all the evidence that I've laid out now, and much more that will be shown later in court, based on all these cases we will present in court, Mr. Butts targeted and befriended women who had to have sexual relationships with their young daughters. He would have relationships with their mothers, but his true desire was to have sex with their young daughters. That's what the evidence will show. He was a classic and expert groomer and pedophile. It's incredibly sad, incredibly unspeakable, and we want to bring justice to her and her family. I have to take this moment to say something to you, and this is not directed at all at Neziah's family, who by all accounts had many in her family that truly loved her. This is directed to everyone else listening to me now. We must be very careful who we let into our hearts and our homes and our lives, especially if you have children. We must be very careful who we have around our children and elders respectively. We must also be very careful who we leave our children with, even if they are in a relationship partners, family, and friend. I'll say that again. Even if they are relationship partners, families, or friends. Life can be hard enough at times, but when it comes to our children, we must be deliberative, we must be diligent, and laser focused on their safety. And sometimes we must make decisions about them and their lives that we may not like and that they may not like, but it's for the betterment of them and their safety and their future. When something doesn't feel right, even if it's just that voice in your head, it usually isn't right. And sometimes when we are attentive and we do everything right by our children, things can still happen and still go very wrong despite our best efforts. This can happen to good watchers of children. But we must always ask ourselves at the end of each and every day, was I right by each member of my household in terms of their safety? Did I do right by my children? Now, of course, Mr. Butts is presumed innocent unless and until he's found guilty on each and every crime and count that we have charged today. We have been told this morning that the arraignment will be tomorrow, we think at 10:30 a.m. in the morning, but we don't have confirmation of that yet. But the arraignment, we are told, will happen tomorrow morning.
Okay, y'all. So, hold on, let me pull this down. So, y'all saw the press conference and the charges, and I absolutely agree with her. Um, and we're gonna, at the end, we gonna have like a heart to heart conversation because I'm concerned about us. I am. Y'all hear me say consistently that our babies are in trouble, and they are. You know why they are? Because one of the things that she said, we're not protecting them. Mm-mm. We're too busy allowing them to shine, quote unquote. And that shine, a lot of times, is coming at the risk of their safety. We've stepped back from being parents and started being friends. Do you know how many stories that I hear on a day-to-day basis of parents who just allowed their 12 and 13-year-olds, sometimes 10 and 11-year-olds, to run up and down the street, do what they want to do at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning? I wish we would have attempted with my mama to run the streets at some 9 o'clock at night. Y'all know what the code was? You better have your butt in this house before them street lights turn off. But now you see 12 and 13-year-olds out all night long. Parents are not knowing and not caring where they are. They just, oh, you only live once. YOLO. Your job is to protect them, not be their friend. Not give them everything they want. Come on now. But in the meantime, guess what? This bright citizen picked up new charges. And if you think they're different than what he's already been accused of, check this out.
Butts in court Friday afternoon. He's the man charged in connection with the homicide of Neziah Harris. The 13-year-old girl disappeared on January 19th. In addition to allegedly sexually assaulting Harris and impregnating her, investigators say he also sexually molested his own daughter. The alleged molestation began when she was under the age of 10. They further allege he sexually assaulted another girl who was under the age of 5 at the time.
She was 4 years old at the time, and she was the daughter of one of Mr. Butt's girlfriends at the time, and we believe her to have contracted chlamydia.
It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's worse than what I thought it was. I've been trying to bring attention to him since 2022. And I did not realize it was this bad.
Bond was remanded for 41-year-old Butts. He's currently incarcerated on an unrelated weapons charge. The sexual assault charges involving minors date back to 2012. Investigators say he started molesting Neziah Harris in 2022.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. I just want this case to move forward. Neziah receives the justice that she deserves. And any other victims who have been victimized by this maniac.
Authorities believe there are likely more children who were victimized by Butts. Meanwhile, Harris's body was never found.
I would encourage any other victims who have been victimized by this man, please speak up. Don't be afraid. Now is your time.
In Detroit, Camila Mary, Fox 2 News.
So, we have covered how this story came out, the news coverage about it. This is a story out of Detroit, Michigan, with this young lady, Neziah Harris, who went missing on January the 9th of 2024. And they just had the preliminary hearing, but we're starting at the beginning and we're running through to the end to kind of back up and deal with the facts. So because we're dealing with the facts, the next thing that we're going to get into is we're going to get into the evidence and some of the things that came out at the preliminary hearing. Now, in the next video, probably tomorrow, I think, the next video, we're going to get into some more of the preliminary hearing, but there's some specific evidence that I wanted to bring to light that was extremely important in this case, right? So if you guys are ready to get into the preliminary hearing, well, hold on one second so I can get some water. Then we're going to get into some of this evidence. So check this out while we pause for a second.
Oh my life. Oh my life. Heard this secret. It was. If one. I've been seeking this special secret. This is something that I've been trying to put my friends on. And I finally found it, you know. This is a champagne secrets moment. I want to share it with y'all, so tap in. Scoot up for a second. Let's toast.
All right, y'all, we back. We back. All right, so now let's get into some of this evidence. So I'm going to tell you now the evidence that we're going to be covering. We're going to listen to them talk about the DNA that was found in this case. This is what they're saying allegedly links back to Jarvis. So we're going to look at the DNA. Then we're going to look at when her ID was found, because her ID was found on the ground in Detroit. Someone picked it up, turned it in because of the news coverage. So we're going to look at that. Then we're going to look at, there was some testimony from, who was it? The nephew's auntie, who got her car fixed and her car was returned. We're going to look at the text messages if we have time. Matter of fact, I might save the nephew's auntie for tomorrow, because I do want to get to these text messages, and I also want to get to the internet searches and Jarvis phone pings. So that is the evidence that we're going to be looking at. So right now, I need you to take a look at during the preliminary hearing when they were discussing all of the DNA.
And just on the first slide, your first photo, is this just a cover sheet for the item that you did?
Yes.
Okay. Going to the second slide or second photo, can you just tell us what we're looking at here on this slide?
So this slide in particular, I take pictures of the front and back of the exterior, if it's a clothing item, front and back of the exterior, and in this case, front and back of the interior, which is on a further slide. But this here, the top left picture, is the front exterior as if it was worn. So that would be, if you were looking at the person wearing it, that would be the front. And the bottom right picture is a close-up of the top half.
And if we could go to slide 10. And we're looking at the 10th slide. Starting with the top left, can you tell us what we're looking at there and what is listed underneath that top?
Now here's the problem I have, y'all, right? Here's the problem I have. Because if this is what this baby had on when she disappeared, how in the hell did they not know whether or not she was pregnant? The math ain't mathing. If she was supposed to be 5 months pregnant, which she kind of looked like in that video, And if you don't know what video I'm talking about, let me go back for a second. Hold on a minute. Let me find it. This video, hold on. Now, for a second.
Shawty gon' bag it up.
I'm gonna pull it up. That's what
Shawty gon' bag it up. 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 Shawty gon' bag it up.
It's coming. There we go. So, in this video, she looks to me, again, my parent, about 5 months pregnant in this video.
Shawty gon' bag it up.
Is it just me?
Shawty gon' bag it up.
Or do y'all think it's just because the sweater
Shawty gon' bag it up.
is, big, because that's usually what they say. It was just a bigger sweater. But from a majority of the videos that I saw of Neziah online, Neziah is pretty petite. This is a thicker girl.
Shawty gon' bag it up. Shawty gon' bag it up.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think she's pregnant in this video.
Shawty gon' bag it up. Shawty gon' bag it up.
Because again, that's my opinion.
Shawty gon' bag it up.
I'm not saying it's fact. See, that's how we separate over here. We don't make things facts when it's just speculation. We speculate she may be pregnant. We're not going to adamantly state she is. You see how that works? Alright, I see the ones. But we getting ready to continue because I don't understand how. If she is in fact pregnant, this is a bodysuit. How would they not be able to see a baby bump? I don't even understand why that's not even something that's being brought up in court. Because you're just trying to hang it on him? I think by the time this whole story break and everything come out, we are going to be floored by how deep this rabbit hole goes. But let's continue.
The top left is the front exterior again, as if worn, and this was after testing, after phenol testing. And the one on the bottom right is a closer look at the top portion, I guess from like shoulder to torso of the garment.
And you have some words included on the top right indicating that there was pheno-negative testing on this portion of it.
Yes, that was a key to, so when the viewers such as yourself would look at this photo and see the pH-N, that's our way of saying this was a negative stain and keeping track of the stains that I did test. So the pH-N means pheno-neg.
Okay. And can we go to slide 20? Sorry, my bad. And I want to focus on the bottom right photo here. What are we looking at in the bottom right of the 19th slide of the PowerPoint?
The bottom right photo is where the positive phenol stain was located. This would be the interior back portion of the item. So like inside here, I don't know if you can see, but like it would be interior inside I flipped it inside out to test those stains.
Okay, so what we're looking at here in the bottom right, that's inside out, so that's why we can see what would be the tag.
The tag, correct, yes.
And now could we go to slide 20? And this says on here pH-POS, does that stand for positive?
Positive, yes.
Okay. And so that area on the inside of if it was inside out, that area tested positive for the possible presence of blood.
Correct.
Okay. And did you do the same sort of PowerPoint for the black hoodie that we tested, or that we talked about earlier as well?
Yes, I did.
And do those pictures that you took, were they put into a PowerPoint similar to this one?
Yes.
And do those pictures in the PowerPoint fairly accurately depict your observations as your testing move forward of the black hoodie?
Yes.
Move to admit people's proposed. People's proposed 44, so we got a little mixed up with the numbers.
Okay. Video.
And permission to publish. And looking at the first slide of 44 that's on the screen, can you tell us this is just the same cover page?
Correct.
And going to the second slide here, what are we looking at here in this photo?
This would be the front of the black hoodie if worn.
And this is before any testing had been done?
Yes.
I want to go forward to slide 7. And what are we looking at here on slide 7 of this PowerPoint exhibit?
This is the hood area of the external portion, the external hood portion of the hoodie. I was trying to get accurate angles, that's why so many pictures, but.
Okay. And is this again just standard overview before any testing had been done?
Yes.
And if we go to slide 8. And what are we looking at here?
This is the interior portion that would be in contact, like if you pulled the hood over your head, it would be the area up here.
So you're looking at the inside of the hood that would touch the person's head.
Yes. Yep.
And slide 9. What in this photo are we looking at here, and has any testing been done at this point?
This is after testing. This is back to the front of the hoodie, plus obviously the sleeves. This is after ALS screening, which is alternate light source, which is used for screening for body fluids such as semen and saliva. I ALS the hoodie, and I marked those areas that had a fluorescence to them with a silver Sharpie, so I could further test after done screening. And IR, which is an infrared, is similar to, it's also an alternate light source, but it's more so for blood on dark items where the dark fabric would become lighter, and if there's blood or possible blood present, it would appear darker. Anything that I saw, I marked with a yellow paint pen with IR next to it, so I can distinguish between the ALS samples, the ALS areas that I saw and the IR areas that I saw.
Okay, and we see a lot of markings on the front of this hoodie.
Yes.
Are you able to tell us, and I know you said the color, but what portion of this is the IR versus the ALS? And it may be easier for you to step down a little bit, not really over there.
So the ones that I observed with IR, I actually wrote IR next to them. I don't know if that's visible on there, given how small the picture is, but other photos, I took pictures of.
Let me get myself back up on the screen for a second. Welcome in, Lock family. I see the locks is running through on tonight. Welcome. What y'all see it pop up? Welcome to the Champagne Gang, my love. Welcome. Is that pronounced Shamika? But welcome to the Champagne Gang and the FizzFam. We are so glad to have you. We're family over here. We are family. No, because we need to get back to this story. But for real, I have a question, y'all. Tell me something. How is there this much DNA, residue, and blood on this jacket, and they can't find traces of blood in it? Not in a car, not in a house, not in the shop, I don't think. But I haven't watched the full preliminary hearing. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. But why? That's a lot. Do you see all the markings on this baby clothes? How is it they can't find where this happened? They're missing something. Somebody knows exactly. Here's the thing, right? When you have family, whether you're close to your family or not, you know the people in your family. You know, when I used to get irritated and frustrated, people already knew you're probably going to find me by the lake. I think I'm a mermaid that got displaced from the water. Low-key, for real. Because the water calms me. That's my calm and my peace. You know when people get angry, where they're going to go. where they chill at, where they hide out. Now, you might not know all their side pieces, but there's things about your family that you know when you've been around them for a long period of time. Somebody knows where this dude frequents when he trying to be mischievous, when he doing dirt. Somebody has to speak up and tell exactly what happened with the proof. Someone out there has the proof. I'm not just talking about Jarvis. And it's really sick, demented, and twisted that someone would know what happened to this baby, know where she is, and say and do nothing. I want you to go to hell, find a flaming pitchfork, sit on it, and twitch. Matter of fact, I want you to go to the base of hell, where the flames are formed. And throw yourself in at this point. I am so sick of stories about our babies being hurt and abused at the hands of people who are supposed to love and care for them. They didn't protect her in the beginning. They had the information. You still had him around you. When there was a CPS report that he had abused her before. And you still allowed him around her. Everybody in this story is a problem. It's not just him, it's them all. They're all the problem. How do you continue to allow the trifling predator around your child after abuse had already been reported? How? Let's continue.
Certain areas, yeah.
And if we could just go to the next, or if you could do it. And so, for example, that on the front, as we're looking at it, left side of the zipper, that's where IR illuminated?
Correct, where there's, like where the icon, the hand, it moved. Right there, and there's an arrow pointing to that large area, like those were areas that dropped out under IR, so I'll put IR next to it so I'll know what to follow up and how to follow up.
And that IR is to indicate blood, correct? It's not a test for blood, but
it's a screening tool used to locate dark stains that may be possible blood.
Okay. And if we could go to slide 20. And this is a closer view. Is this after you've done any other testing other than the light screen?
Yes.
Okay, what testing was done at this point based on this photo?
This is after.
Let me press pause, because I'm glad you said that, Niecy. I'm glad. You know why? Because we got away from it takes a village. Hold on, let me see if I can. Because I need this one to be large. Hold on one second. Let me make this where all y'all can see it real quick. We got away from this. None of this was happening when the school was able to get you for acting a fool in school. When the neighbors were able to get you when you were acting a fool on the block. And then your parents turned around and got you when they found out the others had to deal with you. We wasn't dealing with a lot of what we're dealing with today. When did we forget that we're supposed to be a village? Because where was Nazia's village? Wasn't her family? Where was Nazia's village? The people who cared enough to protect her. Let me tell you something. When my kids were young, and even now, my oldest is 28. Whenever they left my house, where are you going? Who gonna be there? How you getting there? Oh, you gonna be in a car? Okay. I need you to send me what their license plate is. I need the make and model of the car. I need a picture of the car. I need the name of the individual who's going to be driving. And I need another phone number so that I know who to call if I can't get in touch with you. To this day, my oldest is 28. My second oldest is 26. My babies are going to text me and tell me where they at, where they going, how long you going to be there. Do you know why? Because it was not about keeping tabs and wanting to know, well, yeah, it was, because those are my kids. But it was more about, I want to make sure that you're protected. If anything happens to you, I need to know who to send the police after. Y'all let y'all kids out the house. Y'all don't know who they going with. Y'all don't know what they going to get into. How many videos and interrogations do we have to watch of our babies ending up in situations because they with friends they should have never been with if parents would have put the lockdown on them? And if we wouldn't have had a system that's so broken that they allow these kids to get away with almost unaliving each other until they're 18 years old, and then they want to throw the book at them. If we gonna talk about it, let's talk. Scoot up. A lot of us parents are broken. And we're trying to function in a broken system. They all failed her. Everyone who watched it, everyone who saw it, everyone who knew about it, everyone who talked about it, and didn't attempt to do nothing about it, you're part of the problem. Blame yourself for this. Don't just blame Jarvis. You're part of the problem. There's a reason why it's illegal in a lot of states for you to have sex under the age of 18. Do you know why? Because there's things that come along with sex. It's not just about a feeling. That's where we get into soul ties, but y'all not ready for that conversation. There's a reason why. Because when you have sex, there are certain things that are released in the body. Your hormones shift. You look at your hands, they look new. Look at your feet, they look new. Your desires change after sex. You have adults that cannot handle having sex with each other without going cuckoo for damn Cocoa Puffs. Now take that understanding and apply it to a 10, 11, and 12-year-old child. And you wonder why she was able to fall for this. It's like putting a loaded gun in the hand of a toddler. You're not mature enough to handle it yet. These are the conversations we should be having with our children. Instead of telling them to chase the bag and throw their ass, these are the conversations we should be having. Everything that glitter ain't gold, baby girl. The grass ain't greener on the other side, baby boy. All money ain't good money, children. Use your head. Create an empire. Build now. Protect your character. Have integrity. Respect yourself first. So that everybody that comes in your contact got to respect you. Let's talk about it. But we don't have those conversations with our children. We tell our girls, you ain't never broke as long as you got the kitty perm between your legs. Go get that money. We praise our girls for looking like plumb idiots on Zeus Network. And now that's TV. And hell, just social media for that matter. Because it ain't nothing to go on Instagram and see a fight. We cheer it on. We even pull out our cameras and record. We don't pull them to the side and say, you know what, baby? Respect yourself. Love yourself more. Show your dignity. Show the world what your brain can do, not what your ass can do. Our children are in trouble. Our children are broken. Do you know why? Because the majority of us are broken. And the problem with that is majority of us don't want to be fixed. That's the real problem. If I told you right now that if you changed your attitude, the way you behave, the way you treat people, the way you show up in the world, it would change your whole life. A lot of y'all wouldn't take it. You know why? Because there's no likes and views and clicks in that.
Bottle pop, truth drop. Welcome to the show. Champagne secrets.
We wonder why.
Every video.
Poor Naziah didn't have a chance.
Shining bright. Empowerment is the code. We decode. Unravel mysteries. Life's own secret load. Step by step.
Broken system. Broken family. Broken values. Broken nigga. And you wonder why she fell prey. Y'all, this is so sad. Let's continue.
After the pheno testing was done, This particular picture is reflecting a phenopositive area. And it was also screened with IR. As you can see right over the swabs there, it says IR. And that's what led me to follow up with pheno, was because I saw it under IR and it was phenopositive.
And where is this, if you're able to say, on that hoodie?
So this would be, if I was wearing it, it would be in this area, the upper shoulder, bicep area. Yes.
For the record, the witness indicated to her right upper shoulder. Yep, right. Yep. Hold on. You said shoulder. Are you saying that this picture was taken from the right shoulder area of the hoodie?
Correct. Like, I had to move the sleeve a little bit to get it in the picture with the ruler and the swabs, and it's like this area here.
Okay.
I call it the shoulder area.
We're going to look at slide 21. And again, can you tell us what we're looking at here? Then I'm going to ask you a couple follow-up questions.
So this is another phenopositive stain. This one is located on the rear of the sweatshirt, on the bottom right exterior of the sweatshirt.
And you had, in the last photo that we looked at, it said stain 20, and then this one says stain 28 in the text area of the slide. What is it? How do those stain numbers get assigned?
That is for my purposes, so I can keep track of how many stains I tested and what stains I tested. I know if I give it a number, I start from number 1 and I just go. It's a tracking system for me, so I won't double test the stain, and because we report out the number of stains tested in our system, so that's for me to keep track of how many stains I tested.
And if you know, how many stains were identified on the black hoodie?
I can't recall offhand.
And going to slide 22. And what are we looking at here for this photo?
Those are the cartridges used in the Hematrace test. As you can see, you read them per line. The first two only have the one line, that's the control line, which, because there's no visible line in the testing area, it is a negative result. And the third through fifth cartridge have the double line, so those are considered positive results.
And that's for stains, the stain numbers are listed there, correct?
Correct.
And that's stain 20, 28, and 38 that were positive on the Hematrace test?
Yes.
Going to slide 23. And what are we looking at here in this photo? And at what point in your testing was this photo taken?
This was after pheno testing and the AP testing, which was the semen testing. And I put the key there because these are for the results that I wrote on the sweatshirt. So my tech reviewer and whoever's reviewing the photo would know what those meant when they saw them on the sweatshirt.
And you would agree with me that the majority of this sweatshirt is covered in your markings, correct?
Yes.
And going to slide 32 now. What are we looking at here in this photo in the 32nd slide?
This is the exterior of the hood towards the back of the hood. If you were wearing it, it would be like the back right of the hood.
And what testing is indicated on the back of the hood?
This was viewed with IR, and it was screened with IR first, and then I followed up with pheno testing in this instance.
And what was the result of your pheno testing on this area of the sweater?
So stain 37, which is at where the tip of the ruler is at the bottom, that was a very weak positive for pheno, and 36, which is upper towards my typing there, that was also a pheno weak positive.
And did you do any further testing with this section of the hood because of the weak positive, if you remember?
I don't recall offhand.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that you sent new swabs, or went back and took new swabs to send forward for DNA analysis, correct?
Correct.
Do you remember what stain swabs numbers you sent forward for that analysis?
On this one, it was stain 20, which was the shoulder stain, and stain 28, which was the one in the rear of the sweatshirt.
Hey, one moment.
Yes.
Is there both of those stains, 20 and 28, that you sent forward were phenopositive and Hematrace positive, correct?
Correct.
There was a third one, I think it was 38, that was also Hematrace positive and phenopositive?
Yes.
What's the reason you only sent 2 of those 3 forward?
I sent one from a representative area, which was the one from here and the one in the back. The other one, is available to be tested in the future if necessary, but I selected 2 of the stronger phenopositive stains, and they were human trace positive stains. I sent those 2 because they were from 2 different areas on the sweatshirt.
Okay. And
before you move on, you said here, for the record, can you indicate where she was pointing to?
yeah, for the record, the witness indicated towards her right shoulder, and then the other area was from the back
I can
right
stand
side.
if you need. No, I just want the record to be clear. Okay.
From the lower back right.
Yes.
In terms of the testing that you did and your experience testing and doing blood screening and things like that, are you able to talk about the quantity of results that you saw on this sweater at all? In terms of there being 38 swabs, at least 38 swabs, is that normal in your experience that there'd be that much on there, or are you able to talk about that?
I'm not able to say because it varies from case to case.
Fair enough. And do you still have record number 8 up there? Or did I take it?
No, you took it back.
You indicated earlier that the 2 stain swabs that were sent forward were from stains 20 and 28, correct?
Correct.
And then going forward, they were labeled as ending in 5AD and 5BD?
Correct.
Are you able to tell which stain number corresponds to 5AD?
I would not be able to tell without looking at my notes.
With looking at your notes, refresh your memory?
Yes.
Then please do so, and then look back at the new one. Is your memory fresh?
Yes.
What stain swab number that you gave it is 5AD?
5AD would be stain 20, which was the shoulder area stain.
And then 5BD would be 28?
Correct.
And that's the back right, lower back right side?
Correct.
I have nothing further to say.
So y'all, that was the DNA. A lot of DNA. Again, I say, with this much DNA, how can they not find where this happened at? Just no DNA nowhere. No, not in a car, not on a rug, not in a corner, not in a house, not in an attic, not in a basement, not just nowhere. No trace, no residue, no luminol didn't pick up nothing. They just, how much investigation did they really do at the time she went missing? That would be my question. Haven't researched that yet. That would be my question. When did y'all really start? How long does it take for traces of blood to disappear? How long? Those would be my questions. I don't know, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. But I want y'all to check out this real quick. Now, for those who are just joining us, we started this case from the beginning because I think a lot of what gets lost on us, we get so excited that we start talking and putting out information, and a lot of what we put out is speculation. It's not facts. There's a difference between facts and a story based on the facts. The facts are she's missing. The facts are they said there's evidence she was pregnant. The facts are they have Jarvis in prison. In jail awaiting his court proceedings. They just finished the preliminary hearing. These are the facts. Facts are she went missing. They have where she went missing from. The facts are they filed charges. Everything else is speculation. Because remember, what did we say? And I'm going to keep playing it because I think this is what we forget.
You know that. It's not what you know, Clyde. It's what you can prove in court.
Hold on, let me pull it up. so y'all can see it, because I don't want us to get confused. Oh, let me pull this up, so put it right there. There we go. We play it again, in case you didn't hear it.
You know that. It's not what you know, Clyde. It's what you can prove in court.
It's not what you know. This is why I don't deal in speculation. Because in a case like this, even in Diddy's case, it's not what you know. People can talk all day long. But unless you can provide proof, a suspect walks. And that's where we are with this case. And that's why we're starting from the beginning. Because we want to deal with, what do we know? We can discuss our opinion, but we're not going to make our opinion fact. Because again, it's just a story based on the fact. So, I ran across this video of Neziah on TikTok, and it just broke my heart. And I want you to hear it. Hold on a second.
Wait, what? You weren't supposed to agree to that. Are you okay? No. Oh, wait, what? You weren't supposed to agree to that.
So she has a soundbite that is behind it, and he was like, no, you're not supposed to agree with that. And let me pull it up so y'all can see it. Hold on a second. I want you to be able to see what it says. Pull it up. Right here. They had that poor baby thinking that about herself when really they the ugly ones. They've been treating her like ish, and it showed. She's crying because she thinks she's ugly. There are always signs. Always. There are signs when you're dealing with an abusive man. There are signs when you're dealing with an abusive woman. There are signs when you have a child who's being abused. As beautiful as this girl was, she thought she was ugly. Do you know why? Because that's probably what she was told. How many times do you hear parents running around calling their kids, you ugly MFer, you stupid MFer? Trying not to use the lingo. One of these days, we gonna have to go over the Rumble so that we can really talk. By the way, I'm gonna put a pause in there for a second. We are going to have a new space that is opening up, that I'm gonna do. I'm playing around with the name of it, but what I want us to be able to do is have a space where we can get it off our chest. Because a lot of us hold in so much toxicity that if we ever had really a safe space where we can let that all go, but when we do it, it's going to be live. I'm going to drop the link. Anybody can come up, and you're just able to get off your chest whatever it is that you need to get off your chest. But we cannot name names. We will not be saying my baby daddy, my auntie, my best friend. We will not verbally say their name. We will not allude to who they are. We will not even give our names or where we are from. It is going to be completely anonymous. It is going to be a safe space. Your avatar and your name won't even be showing. And you're going to be able to come up and say whatever you need to get it off your chest. I was talking to my auntie, and my auntie brought it up to me on yesterday. And I told her, I said, you know, the funny thing about God is, the Bible says, let it be established by 2 to 3 witnesses. I said, and I was already thinking about doing a get it off your chest. Say it with your chest. That's what I think I want to call it. She said I should call it the real shit. But just so that people can just release. Because we don't know how to release. Then we take that and we dump it on other people. The only reason people will call their children ugly MFs is because they're thinking about themselves. Because why would you try to break an innocent child unless you're already broken? Broken system produces broken people, produces broken children who fall victim to broken niggas. This is sad. When I saw this, it broke my. You can see the pain in her eyes. If we could see it on social media, the hell you mean her family is? And I'm not talking about the ones who tried to help, because we're gonna get in that too, because her family did speak out. Excuse me, y'all. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ones who are around her, the ones she was entrusted to, that didn't make sure she was okay. The next video that we're going to get into is the video of the testimony of when her ID was found, because that's going to be important as well. And if at any time you guys cannot hear the video, or it's too low, or you need me to turn it up some, please let me know. And I hope you can hear our lovely music playing in the background, created by yours truly and AI. So if you want to know how to create your own, please hit up your girl. And this whole interface and everything that we're using, what we're seeing, has been created using OBS. So if you want to know how to create and set up scenes, hit me up, champagnesecrets@gmail.com. So let's get into it, where her ID was found.
And Ms. Smith, I want to call your attention back to March 7th of 2024. At that time, in what area did you live?
That's where I live currently. I'm 7 Mile Evergreen area.
Okay, and is that near Evergreen and St. Martin's?
Yes.
Okay, is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And on March 7th, 2024, did you come into contact with the police?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the reason you came into contact with the Detroit Police Department?
I found a young lady's ID.
And where did you find that ID?
Directly across the street from my house.
And was it like a driver's license, school ID, or something else?
School ID, it looked like.
And when you found that, was that the first time you had seen it there?
No, I stepped over it for 2.5 weeks before I decided to pick it up.
Okay, and is there a reason after 2.5 weeks of noticing it there that you decided to pick it up?
I just decided to pick it up that day. I was going out shopping. I said, well, let me get it and send it back to whomever it belongs to.
Okay, and when you picked it up, did you read the name on that ID?
Yes.
And what was the name on the ID?
Zanaya Harris.
And did that raise any concerns in your mind?
It sure did.
And what's the reason it raised concerns?
I just heard it on the news before it came on.
You heard her name?
Her name, yes.
And when you picked it up, did you have gloves on or anything like that?
No.
And you used your bare handgun?
I took my thumb and flipped it. And when I saw the name, I just put my hands on the outside of it.
And what was the reason you just put your hands on the outside?
I didn't want it to disturb any of the prints that were on there.
And when you picked it up, did you place it in anything?
Once I got to the next stop, I was on the bus line, I took it in the gas station and I put it in a lid.
Okay, so let's back up for a second. You picked it up and then got onto the bus?
Yeah, but I still had it like this. I never put my fingerprints on, any more prints on it.
And for the record, the witness indicated by holding her hands about 3 inches apart.
Yes.
Her fingers. And when you got to the gas station, did you go into the gas station?
Yes.
And did you tell the people in the gas station about what you found?
Yes, sir. I also told the bus driver what I had found.
And then after you told the gas station people, what happened next?
I asked them to call the police for me.
And did they?
Yes.
And then did the police come to your location?
Yes.
And after the police got there, what happened next?
They took me back to my house so I could show them exactly where I found the ID at.
And did you show them that?
Yes.
And did you give them the ID as well?
Yes. I gave it to them when they initially pulled up.
And may I approach her? I'm approaching with People's Proposed Exhibit 40. Ms. Smith, do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And is that the ID that you found?
Yes, sir.
I move to admit People's Proposed 40.
No objection.
And permission to publish on the screen. And Ms. Smith, I don't know if you can see the screen from where you are. That's the picture I just showed you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And is that the cup or the top of the?
That's the lid. That's
the lid that you
yes,
put
sir.
it in. Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
And on the bottom left, it says grade 8, correct?
Yes.
I have nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Smith.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. You said that you picked up the ID, was it March the 6th? Or I'm sorry, the 7th?
Yes.
Yes. And you said you had been stepping over it for approximately 2 weeks?
2.5 weeks I stepped over.
Okay, so that puts you in February.
When I initially saw it,
When you
yes.
initially saw it, okay. And you said you had been stepping over it?
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that it was actually on the sidewalk?
No, it was in the grass.
In the grass?
Face down.
The grass next to the street?
Yes.
So there's like an, usually kind of like an easement between like the street and the sidewalk?
Yes.
And there's like a patch of grass there?
Yes.
And is that right in front of the bus stop or?
No, it was a little ways off from the bus stop.
Okay, from the bus stop, between the bus stop and what other landmark would you say?
Nothing else is there.
Nothing else there?
No.
How far to the corner of the block?
St. Martin's. It's not that far.
Okay, so a few steps?
2 steps, yes.
Okay,
2 steps.
perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, please. Ms. Smith, just a couple of questions for you. Ms. Quick asked you a couple of questions about specifically where you found it. You said it was in a patch of grass next to the sidewalk?
Yes.
Okay. And you said you had been stepping over it for about 2.5 weeks before you gave it to the police department?
Before I decided to pick it up, yes, sir.
The 2.5 weeks that you've been stepping over it at the beginning of that, is that the first time you noticed it?
Yes, sir.
And it could have been there before those 2.5 weeks, correct?
Yes, sir.
I don't think it's a yes or no question. I don't think that calls for
Yes, Your Honor. My objection is how can she testify to how long it could have been there prior? She can only testify to what she knows. She testified that she knew it's been there for 2.5 weeks.
Did you see it being placed there on the grass?
I'm sorry?
Did you see it being
No,
placed
ma'am.
on the grass?
No, ma'am.
I'm going to sustain objection. She didn't know, but she didn't see it dry.
So the first time you noticed it was 2.5 weeks prior to March 7th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you talked to the police officers, did you look at a photo, a Google Street View of your location?
Yes, sir.
And did you indicate on that photo where you found it?
Exactly, yes. They took me, they took me back to my house so I could show them exactly where I found it.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
I'm approaching with what's going to be marked as People's Proposed 62. Do you recognize that, ma'am?
Yes.
And is that the photo that you signed and indicated where you found it?
Yes, sir.
At this time, I would move to admit People's Proposed 62.
No objection.
Will it be admitted?
And permission to publish, since I don't have a hard copy.
Yes.
And on the screen, is that the photo I just showed you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and there's a circle with a line going up from the bottom of the screen there. Is that circle where you indicated you found it?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Jesse.
I have just a couple questions based on this picture. Ms. Smith, so as we look at the picture here, in which direction, left or right, is the bus stop?
To the right.
To the right, so closer to the church? Is that or that white building that's in
No, that's a person's house right there.
Okay.
It was like, okay, I come out of my driveway, and it's like catty corner to the bus stop from my driveway.
Well, the sign is where the bus stop is, right?
Yes, right there.
Okay. And so, okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Nothing further.
Thank you.
Bottle pop, truth drop. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Niecy B. I forgot to turn my mic back on. But sometimes I don't understand lawyers. I don't. I don't. They spent that amount of time asking this woman the same question in different ways over and over again. How many times are you going to ask her how she found the ID? I don't understand. You could have taken that time and focused on more important stuff instead of repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Why are we wasting time on how she found the ID? Unless you thought she had something to do with it. Make it, y'all. Our justice system is screwed. Just the whole system, just throw it away. I'm gonna have to get a meme of goddamn Zoe saying the door for every bit of foolishness that I run across, because it was a waste of 8 minutes. Oh Lord, but I really want to get into these text messages, because if just when you think it can't get any worse. For those who are just tuning in, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for me. You see the little box spinning in the corner. Go ahead and like and subscribe for us. While you're at it, make sure you subscribe to our other channels, Champagne Secrets Reacts and the Hennessey Zone. Those are channels that I am building up. We are testing the algorithm a little bit. Because this is a one-stop shop, you can get it all from one place. Even though my subscribers like it, the YouTube algorithm doesn't, because it doesn't know where to send my videos, and that's why it's hard for me to get a lot of views on my videos, because one minute we could be talking about true crime, the next minute we can be talking about spaceships, the next minute we can be talking about camping in the middle of the snow. It just, look, this is a random reaction channel. I am a producer. I like to create. So anything that gives me the opportunity to create, that's what I'm going to use if it piques my interest. So make sure you like and subscribe to my other channels. We do have videos over there. But I do want to get into these text messages, because just when you think this can't get any sicker, check this out.
We're on 313-379-5882. Can you I don't have copy of that. Can you read the message that was sent from that number to Jarvis Black's number, or I guess the that were captured with it? Including the dates and approximate.
So the first message is September 24th, 2022 at 22:15 hours UTC. she sends, bald head Janiyah, come here.
And that's to a number that's not Mr. Butts.
Correct.
Okay.
And the next message is on September 27th, 2022. All of these dates are from 2022. So September 27th at 1:37 a.m. UTC, it is sent to Mr. Butt's phone. We fitnessing, happy birthday. Immediately after that, at the 17-second mark, again to Mr. Butt's phone, it says, come on. On that date, September 27th at 1:52 a.m., another message is sent to Butt's phone asking, you okay? September 27, 2022, 1:54 a.m., she sent a message, where are we doing it at your choice? Immediately following that text, a message is received to Neziah, to this text now number, from Mr. Butt's phone that says, you tell me. 9:27, 1:55 a.m., a message is replied to Jarvis. It says, basement. 1:56 a.m., a message is sent to Neziah from Mr. Butt's phone that says, you sure? At 1:56 a.m., a message is sent to Neziah, from Neziah to Mr. Butt saying, or job. At 1:57 a.m., a message is sent to Neziah from Mr. Butt's phone saying, can you suck my dick, please? The message immediately following that from Mr. Butt's phone to Neziah, and make sure you erase the messages. Still September 27th, 1:59 UTC, a message is sent to Mr. Butt that says, okay, that is what I planned to do. Another message is immediately following that at 2:01 to Mr. Butt. You turn me on just looking at you, and then there's a bunch of letters, which possibly is maybe an image that was sent that doesn't capture any messages. 2:02 a.m., Neziah sends another message to Jarvis, what time to be in the basement? 2:03 a.m., he replies and sends her a message that says, go change your clothes and take your panties off. Neziah replies to Mr. Butt and says the letter K. At 2:10 a.m., so 7 minutes later, a message is sent from Neziah to Jarvis's phone. I hear you, what are you looking at? Jarvis replies back immediately to her saying the letter U. At 2:13 a.m. UTC, still on September 27th, Neziah sends Jarvis a message that says, I know, I'm finna sleep good. There's another message directly after that has a bunch of symbols, so I'm not sure if it's...
So you trying to tell me that her parents never checked her phone? Is that what we saying? That we so out of touch? Hold on a second. Get me up here. That we are so out of touch with our children that we don't check their phones. With all of the predators and hell, adults out here getting scammed. And we wonder why this happened. How? So you telling me y'all don't check y'all children's phone to see who they talking to make sure they're safe? To make sure they're not in danger? How was all of this going on this baby phone? And her family didn't know? You didn't see not and text.
Was one of those little emojis. 2:14 a.m. she sends to him, what about you? The next message she sends to him immediately after, sometimes I be wanting to live with you. 2:16 a.m. she sends to him, you know what I mean? 2:18 a.m. she sends, what time I'm ready? 2:23 a.m. she sends to Mr. Butts' phone number, we not doing it or what? 2:23 a.m. Neziah sends to Mr. Butts, I really want you. This is still on the same day, September 27, 2022. This is now 2:23 a.m. UTC time. Mr. Butts replies to Neziah, yes. 2:24 a.m. Neziah sends, pull your car down the street and come back, I'll be waiting. 2:25 a.m. Jarvis's phone replies back to her, come ride with me and Nye, N-I-Y. 2:25 a.m. she replies, they say I can come. At 2:30 UTC, she sends him a message that says, I'm sorry, but love you. 2:30 UTC, he immediately replies back, come on. 2:31, Zaya replies, I can't, I'm going to get in trouble. The next message is at 2:35. She sends, when you come back, drop Nye off, pull your car down the street, and I'll come in the base, I'll be waiting. And immediately after that, she sends, basement, please. Jarvis replies, okay. At 2:40, Jarvis replies, you in the basement yet? Immediately after that, Zaya replies back, yeah. Now we are, the next day being, it's now September.
Listen, my mama could tell when we came out of our room in the middle of the night. I don't care how much we tried to tiptoe, move slow, and we weren't trying to sneak out. We was too scared to play with our mama like that. No, we was just trying to go to the kitchen and sneak something to eat out the refrigerator in the middle of the night. Sneak some cookies or some chips or something. But it was like she could feel our spirit moving and tell us, if you don't get your butt back, how in the hell was this baby constantly able to go down in a basement with this ninja? And the family knew nothing about it. Y'all, my questions have questions.
28, 2:28 a.m. UTC, she sends Jarvis a message that says, are we doing it tonight? I'm ready, fresh out the shower. The next message is a reply from him to her. Well, this is September 30th now, at 1:25 a.m. UTC. He replies, yo. September 30th, 2:59, she replies, you coming over? She then sends another message directly after that, don't have school. At 3:07, a reply is received to Neziah from Jarvis saying, yep. She then replies, okay, we'll be waiting. At 3:17 a.m., he sends another message, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, text me when you get here. At 3:21 a.m., this is still September 30th date, Jarvis replies and sends a message to her saying, outside. Now we have skipped to September 30th, when it is now on here at 23:13 hours UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis saying, hey boo, you coming over? The next message is now October 1st, 2022, 1:51 UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis asking, you coming?
I don't understand how, as her guardians, how with adults in the house, they didn't know this was going on in the house. Or did they know? It just turned a blind eye to it. Because remember the video that we played at the beginning? Okay, for some of y'all, if you was here from the beginning and you saw the video, then, just go fill your glass back up or something. But for those who weren't, check this out. Hold on, let me move it. So y'all can see it. Hold on. Check this out.
Jarvis Butts is awaiting trial for the murder and sexual abuse of Neziah Harris.
After listening to days of testimony last month, a judge called Butts a monster and said that opportunities to protect the 13-year-old girl were missed. Tonight, the 7 investigators are revealing years of warnings that preceded Butts' alleged crimes.
Warnings that family members say were made to Children's Protective Services that could have saved Naziah's life. Here's what 7 investigator Ross Jones has uncovered.
You look at that face, and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing.
Years before Jarvis Butts would be charged by Wayne County's prosecutor, accused of killing and sexually abusing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, Harris's own relatives say they saw the warning signs and told anyone who would listen.
But at that point, I said, this is too much. I'm calling CPS.
I tried not just once, but multiple times for them to take me serious in what I was saying.
Kiwana Morton and her cousin Jernell are both relatives of Naziah Harris. In February of 2022, Jernell says she learned of allegations of improper touching involving Butts and other small children. She says she was told about the claims while talking to her niece, Jarvis Butts' girlfriend, and that the alleged victims were Naziah Harris and 2 other children.
I was just like, oh my God, I was not crazy. This needs to be looked into.
She says she took the claim seriously in part.
So they had information before that he had touched her before. And you still allowed this sick fuck around this baby to do what he did. Lock them all up. Throw away the key. What is the purpose of the trial? They all guilty. Because how do you allow him around her again? Around children, period. How do you continue to procreate with someone who has already abused you? It made me madder when I saw this video today, and I think it came out today or yesterday, that it posted on YouTube. It made me madder than I already was. Because you knew. Now this poor baby got Stockholm Syndrome. She in love with her doggone abuser. And now she's gone. Because nobody thought enough to protect her from a monster. Or should I say monsters? Because they're all cut from the same cloth. Because you knew it and did nothing. I'm not talking about the ones that tried to fight. But you did nothing to protect her.
Because Butts was on the sex offender registry, having spent more than 8 years in prison for third-degree criminal sexual conduct. She didn't alert authorities at first because she believed her niece would notify police. But weeks later, Jernell did notify Child Protective Services. Her complaint came in on April 13, 2022. There was an incident at a birthday party, the complaint reads. One of the children that attended the party accused Jarvis of sexual abuse. Naziah, and name withheld, reported that Jarvis touched both of them inappropriately as well. Jarvis touched, name withheld, in her private area, and it hurt. Jernell made the complaint over the phone.
They basically told me if they needed me for anything else, they would reach out.
The next day, Jernell would receive a text from her niece, Butts' girlfriend, confirming that CPS had contacted her. CPS called me, the text reads. They called about the well-being of my kids. Then they called back to get Jarvis info. A CPS spokeswoman would not tell 7 News Detroit if investigators ever questioned Naziah Harris after receiving the complaint. But we do know it wasn't the only complaint filed with CPS, naming Jarvis Butts.
And it wasn't easy for me to call Protective Services just because of the horror stories that you hear.
Kiwana Morton said she heard about the same allegations against Butts from a conversation with his girlfriend. 2 months after her cousins called to CPS, she would file her own complaint.
I told them that there's a problem and they need to be aware of it. I am 90% sure that there's sexual abuse going on within the home.
Did you specifically mention Jarvis by name?
Yes, absolutely.
Internal CPS records we obtained show that investigators looked into that complaint, conducting a face-to-face interview with Butts, who strongly denied the allegation. A forensic interview was conducted with the alleged victim, and no disclosures were made. CPS said the home was clean and free of observed safety concerns. The allegation was denied, assigned a low-risk level. These are 2 complaints of at least 5 filed with CPS since 2015, naming Jarvis Butts. They allege concerns about possible molestation, physical abuse, or living conditions. Some of the complaints are generic, and none would ultimately substantiate that Butts was improperly touching children. Just over a year after the last complaint on record, Butts would be charged with sexually assaulting and murdering Neziah Harris.
I'm brokenhearted because this could have been prevented. All of it. All of it could have been prevented.
Attorneys for Jarvis Butts declined comment for this story, citing his pending criminal case. As for CPS, a spokeswoman for the Department of Health and Human Services said that their hearts go out to the family and friends of Neziah Harris. It says that state and federal laws prohibit them from commenting on what we just reported, but that they are committed to ensuring the health and safety of all children. I'm Ross Jones, 7 News, Detroit.
They knew. They knew. We're not talking about, 2015. 2022. And here we are. Shocked. In 2025. They all failed her. Everyone who knew. Everyone who saw it. Anyone who was there. Anyone who knew about it. Anyone who heard about it. And did nothing. I'm gonna find that clip for tomorrow. They're all guilty. Because they knew. And did nothing to protect her. You wanted some dick that bad? That you didn't protect your niece, your children.
Welcome to the show. Champagne secrets, let your power grow.
The next video we're going to get into are the internet searches that came up during the preliminary hearing. Check this out.
It has a Google account ID number, then it gives a name that says Jarvis Butts. It has an email address, jarvisbutts82@gmail.com. There's also a phone number that's connected to it, which is 313-585-8719.
And is there a birthday associated with that?
Yes, November 21st, 1982.
And moving on to the searches, what dates do those searches encompass?
These searches are December 9th.
Of what year?
Yep, December 9th, 10th, and 11th of 2023.
Okay. And it's fair to say that those are the entirety of all of the searches from those days?
It is not all of them, no.
Those are just select ones from the Google return?
Yes.
All right. Starting with December 9th, tell me which ones that we have in that exhibit.
So the first, do you want me to read the ones that are just highlighted, or you want me to start at the top of here? So.
The ones that are highlighted. Just start with the ones that are highlighted.
Yeah, so this search was December 9th, 2023 at 3:32 UTC time. So you would actually have to subtract 5 hours, which would make it the night of December 8th. And the site is, what's visited, it's Drink Me and Abort Your Baby, the Herbal Abortion Tea by Maya.
Okay. And what about the next one after that?
There is a site that's visited on December, it says here December 10th, 2023 at 9:32 p.m. UTC, so -5. And the site visited is plannedparenthood.org/learn/abortion/the abortion pill.
And
The next search is immediately after that, so December 10th at 9:32 p.m. UTC, the abortion pill, get the facts about medication abortion. There is a search that was conducted before that on December 10th, 2023 at 9:31 p.m. UTC, and that site is plannedparenthood.org/blog/can I use herbs to have an abortion at home. The next one is December 10th, 2023 at 9:31 p.m. UTC. Can I use herbs to have an abortion at home? Planned Parenthood.
And the next one?
The next one is December 10th, 2023 at 9:36 p.m. UTC. So again, minus 5 hours. And that site is, it's ansirh.org, research, over-counter medication abortion. Search December 10th, 2023 at 9:36 p.m. Over-the-counter medication abortion, and that's from that same place before, ANSIRH. December 10th, 2023 at 9:32. Planned Parenthood, abortion, the abortion pill. How do I have an abortion using only the misoprostol, misoprostol. The next search, December 10th, 2023 at 9:32. Planned Parenthood, learn abortion, the abortion pill. So it's like the same, back and forth to the same site. On December 11th at 11:43 p.m. UTC, so minus 5 hours, specifically a search is, can I drink red antifreeze? Again, that same item is searched again right after the same time, 11:43 on December 11th, 2023. And I believe that's it.
Okay.
Maybe if they would have searched her phone, spent as much time paying attention to her as the detective spent searching his phone, we wouldn't be here. But again, can't say that. This is the same family that sat back and knew he had SA'd her. Y'all, I'm so sick of this censorship foolishness. I am. I personally feel like when you're not allowed to say the word, you take away the power that the word holds. You take away what the person went through. You diminish it when you censor the word and don't allow people to say it. It happened. But again, broken system. We're more concerned about words than protecting our children, protecting our citizens. The next thing that we're going to check out really quick is his phone pings. Now again, for those who may be just tuning in, we are starting at the beginning. So much information has been put out there about this case. And we want to go back and look at the facts. We want to look at the proof, because it's not what you know, it's what you can prove in court. Everything else is just hearsay. So we started at the beginning from where she was reported missing, and the newscast was broadcast about her being missing. And now we're going over the evidence that was brought forth at the preliminary hearing. We're going to be continuing it more. Got to put some stuff together, so if it's not tomorrow, it'll be the day after. But we're going to check out these phone pings from where Jarvis' phone hit at.
And charged with the murder of 13-year-old Neziah Harris was back in court today as witness statements continue with the preliminary hearing. Thank you for joining us. I'm Terrence Friday.
And I'm Meredith Bruckner. Harris's body was never recovered after disappearing nearly a year ago, but a witness testified yesterday that she saw 42-year-old defendant Jarvis Butts with Harris in Ypsilanti the evening she went missing. CBS Detroit's Jack Springate joins us from outside the 36th District Courthouse in Detroit to tell us how phone records are shedding more light on Butts' whereabouts following Neziah's disappearance.
Well, an expert in phone records forensics and cell tower mapping delivered a compelling timeline of where they tracked Butts' phone the day Neziah disappeared, as well as the following 36 hours. A little after 4 p.m. on January 9th, 2024, Butts' phone was tracked to his shop on Connor Street, according to the expert's analysis. Between that time and a little before 7:30 p.m., the data shows his phone's location heading towards Ypsilanti, consistent with what one witness said yesterday when she claimed seeing Neziah with Butts the day she went missing. Further analysis shows more activity from his cell phone near his shop once again. This time it's traced around 8:22 and 9 p.m. on January 9th. The witness then testified to Butts' phone activity stemming from the area near the Park Crest Inn. That's what two witnesses described yesterday as a place Butts would take other women to have sex. The report shows that these calls occurred after 10:35 p.m. on the day Neziah disappeared. Another exhibit shows Butts' phone activity more than 24 hours later. This time they tracked activity between 11:40 p.m. on January 10th to 1:30 a.m. on the 11th near the area of 7 Mile and Berg Road. This is the same location crews searched for Neziah's body 1 year ago. They never found her, but they did find a jacket, pink onesie, and black Nike shoes that match what witness described her wearing when she went missing.
I want to know how hard they searched that area. That's what I want to know. Because if you found that much there, it's got to be some significance to that area, in my opinion. Again, I say, my opinion. But how well did they really search that area and the surrounding areas near that area where they found her things? Let me know in the chat what you think. Do you think that area holds significance? Or do you think that it was just a dumping ground for her belongings? What do you think? Let me know.
We were responding to a missing person.
What was your role in searching the 7 Mile and Berg area?
I was searching the riverbank of the River Rouge. We were searching south along the bank. I was on the east side of the bank in the 7 Mile Berg area.
We then heard shocking testimony from one of Neziah's cousins, who is younger than 10 years old. A warning, this information could be disturbing to some viewers. She alleges being in the room with another cousin while Butts took advantage and had sex with Neziah. Disturbingly, this wasn't the only time she alleges witnessing Butts coercing sex on her cousins. She even says he tried to make advances towards her at one point, but she was able to say no after recognizing what he was trying to do. Unfortunately, that's because she's seen him act this way towards her cousins before, who were also Butts' nieces. One of Neziah's biggest advocates and adult cousins described seeing Butts in court after hearing these allegations.
Nobody. The baby recognized it. But you telling me these mere freaking adults that was around her could recognize nothing was wrong? Are we? My questions have so many questions. The level of my anger kindled for this case knows no bounds. Because how did no one know? How? The more evidence that's presented, the more I'm questioning how no one knew what was going on. Did you not care so bad for this baby that you would allow for this to go on and you just turn a blind eye?
let your power grow.
That baby said he did it to several cousins, not just her. She wasn't the only one, and no one knew. So y'all ain't trying to protect none of the babies in this family. They're all indispensable.
I don't have nice words, necessarily for that. But obviously, I have to be strong for my family. I have to be strong for Neziah, and I'm putting my trust in the justice system.
And it doesn't get much more difficult to hear witness testimony than what we heard from that young girl this afternoon. We'll be here for another day of witness testimony starting tomorrow, and we'll be bringing you updates starting at 10 a.m. throughout the day. For now, reporting outside the 36th District Courthouse, I'm Jack Springate, CBS News Detroit.
So now, y'all, we're going to get into, and then we're going to get ready to close it out. But we're going to get into the news broadcast because there were remains that were found. Now, it has come to the surface that the remains were of a little boy, but it makes my questions have even more questions yet again. Because what's going on? But check this out.
There's a lot we don't know about the human remains that were found in the backyard of this home in northwest Detroit. This is an area we're talking about. Take a look. Construction workers made the discovery at a home on Woodingham. It's not far from the intersection of Livernois and 8 Mile. Let's go out to Pamela Osborne right now. Pam, you spent the day in that neighborhood today. It's been very quiet today.
It has, Ty, and
Now, there's a lot we don't know about the human remains that were found in the backyard of this home in northwest Detroit. This is an area we're talking about. Take a look. Construction workers made the discovery at a home on Woodingham. It's not far from the intersection of Livernois and 8 Mile. Let's go out to Pamela Osborne right now. Pam, you spent the day in that neighborhood today. It's been very quiet today.
it has, Ty, and a day later, people are still coming to terms with what happened here. I actually spoke to one of the construction workers who made that discovery over the phone earlier today, and he is still trying to process what he saw here.
It's as if nothing happened here at all. But if you look close, you'll see the signs that this was the scene of an unthinkable tragedy.
It hurts because knowing that it could be a kid.
Nadia Morris looked on Monday as investigators with DPD and the FBI slowly worked to dig up human remains from a shallow grave found in back of a vacant home on St. Martin's and Woodingham on Detroit's west side. Drone 4 shows us the narrow area between a fence and detached garage where those remains were found by construction workers. Detroit police declined to comment Tuesday, but Local 4 crime and safety expert Darnell Blackburn shared his thoughts on the tough job ahead.
In general, it's always a tough thing to do, but when you're starting with potentially an infant or a child, identifying that of a child, it becomes a lot more difficult.
Morris says it's been some time since anyone had lived there.
From seeing them, they seem like a happy family other than, common arguments that couples have.
But it's not clear if that family is at all connected to the remains or how long they've been there. DPD said Monday they've enlisted the help of the FBI and are working in tandem with the Missing and Exploited Children's Task Force.
Let's start with the beginning of knocking on doors and contacting neighbors and trying to figure out, if there's a connection.
I do want to clarify something. That family, that neighbor is referring to, lived here a year ago. But what we're hearing from residents is that someone else had lived in this home more recently. In fact, one neighbor who did not want to go on camera said that a mother lived there with her child and that sometime back in November, she loaded up her car and that was the last time he saw her. Certainly one of the many things that police are looking at right now as they work with the home's owner, likely to identify who rented that property. Reporting live in Detroit, I'm Pamela Osborne, Local 4.
So many questions, Pamela. Thank you.
So I got questions. Because here we have another baby gone. Most likely at the hands of someone who was supposed to protect them. And we don't think our children are in trouble. When the very individuals who are supposed to protect them, look after them, and make sure they're safe, are the same individuals that are doing them harm and taking their lives. That's the real pandemic. The pandemic that our children are in at the hands of individuals who are supposed to protect them, look out for them, and keep them safe.
Bottle pop, truth drop, welcome to the show.
By the families
Secrets, let your power grow. Every video
who are supposed to be their village, who are supposed to nurture them and guide them. Put a smile on their face. Teach them how to navigate this thing called life. Start them off with a roadmap. But they are the very ones that are ending and taking their lives. What is wrong with us? These babies didn't ask to be here. She didn't ask to be here. She was the product of a man and a woman who decided to lay down and have intercourse. And we're going to look into the Ayanna Sawyer case as well. But that's what produced her. Allegedly a drug addict mama and a married father who signed his daughter over to the hands of her grandmother because he didn't want his wife to find out. So what, we're in a day and age now where our children don't deserve love? Do our children do some fucked up things? Mm-hmm. But so did you. Your children are just you 2.0. But when we take our hands off of our children, this is what we have. A young girl, beautiful, smile that can light up the room, gone. Because she decided to trust a monster. But why wouldn't she be attracted to monsters when she was living with them? When are we going to get back to a place where we make it about the children, about our next generation?
Champagne secrets, let your power grow. Every video
Now, I agree, some of them need pure grade A ass whoopings. Hell, we need to develop a parent ass whooping association for some of these kids. But see, that's that village that we were talking about. But no, we can't have a village no more. Do you know why? Because you can't say nothing about my kids. You can't say nothing to my kids. I wish somebody would say something to my kids. Meanwhile, you can't even say nothing to your kids. We just did a video not too long ago with a mother crying because her 5- and 7-year-old was whooping her ass. But you don't want nobody to say nothing to your children. Meanwhile, our youth are leaving out of here, as the old people would say, like 90 going north. Our 13-year-old girls, again, I say, I don't know what is up with the number 13 and our girls. But every time you turn on the story, 13, 13, 13. She disappeared, 13. Her body was found, 13. She was unalive, 13. And instead of us coming together, trying to figure out what is going on with our children, that they're running to these predators, we arguing over ninjas online. We in the middle of the street fighting. Meanwhile, our children are fighting other battles that we know nothing about, because we too busy still trying to be young, still trying to party, still trying to kick it, that we've lost sight of our lineage, our future. Do you not realize your children carry it on your bloodline? If all of our children are gone, and we're gone eventually, who's going to carry on the bloodline? What are you imparting in your kids? Grandchildren. So that they know they're beautiful, they're wanted, they're loved, they're special, they have a future. They need to dream again. And you're going to help them make those dreams come true by any means necessary. But you know the height of our kids' dreams? Being on baddies. Being flashy. Throwing money. Putting all your money in another man's pocket, because that's what you do when you spending all your money on this name brand stuff that won't be able to sustain you in the future. Because when you get too big or too small for it and have to sell it, you can't sell it for the same price. We're not teaching our children about investing. We're not teaching our children that I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. There are some days you're not going to like me. There's some days you're not going to want to hear what I have to say. But the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's older, he will not depart from it. Don't mean he won't do wrong. But it'll mean that right is in him because you put him there. You put it there. What was put in Uzziah when they didn't even protect her? When the initial allegation of abuse came out. She was owed better than this. More than this. This is sad. I did see that Niecy, and I'm going to do a video to talk about that. I did see, I was watching Voodoo Doll TV earlier, and she was covering that Ronnie passed away. And y'all know I don't do a whole lot of Krishan coverage because that poor child. Jesus Christ. her in blue. So we're definitely going to be covering that. My heart goes out to his family. Again, proving our point. Our children are leaving out of here left and right. You can't even blink without hearing another story about another child being unalived. But y'all listen, it's hey my booze, cause I need my gotta make sure y'all hear this ambiance. It's been going in the background. Here we go. But that's all I have for this one. We will be continuing either, like I said, tomorrow or the day after. We will be continuing. We want to cover some more of the press conference. And then we're going to get into some of the videos of the family speaking out in this situation, and some of the things that have come out. We're also going to do a live where we drop the link, and you guys are able to come up and let us know what you think. Also, if you're just tuning in, please stay tuned, because we do have a special area that's coming up for the channel. And on that area, we are going to be allowing people to come up on the show and get it off your chest. Talk your shit. Say it with your chest. We're not going to use names. We're not going to use where you're from. It's going to be completely anonymous, because y'all know this is a safe space. But we want to give a space for individuals to be able to come and say what they need to say. Get it off your chest. Maybe we need to do it on Rumble so that you can really get some stuff off your chest without being censored. But we're not going to use names. We're not going to use locations. You won't even show up. All they'll hear is your voice, and you'll be allowed to just air it out. Get it all out, because this is a day and age where we really need it. But thank you all for joining me for the show today. You guys are amazing. Every like, every subscribe, every comment. Thank you guys so much. Hold on a second. I didn't mean to do that. I thought it was another screen because something disappeared. But thank you guys so much. You are so amazing. And until next time, make sure you like and subscribe, please. We are on our road to 1K. And I've been seeing the subscriber count go up, and I am so grateful. Y'all, these locks are stressing me out. I am so grateful for every like, every share, for all that y'all do for the Champagne City. My Champagne gang is amazing. Me and my confidant, Hennessey B, one of my subscribers, sat on the phone one day for 7 hours going through videos in order to put this show together. So thank you so much, Hennessey, for all of the research that you helped me do. And if you have a story that you would like to see us cover, drop it in the comments, and I'll definitely do some research, look into it, and who knows, it may be on one of our next shows. This is going to be edited and put on the Hennessey Zone for those who are subscribed. Thank you again. And until next time, always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, it's causing you to depreciate. Now raise those glasses, clink, and let's drink till we meet again. Ta-ta.